Here we're going to show you how to put the sail on the mast. Start by unrolling the sail on starboard tack and inserting the mast from the bottom. As you get it in, don't put the mast on the cambers yet. Try and get it above the cambers. That's true for all of the bottom ones, but not for the top one. As you get near the top, you do want to try and get that camber on because the luff sleeve is a little thinner and there's not as much space to maneuver up there. Usually be able to get about 70% of the sail on, and then you're going to have to manually walk to the front or to the top and kind of manually put it on. Matt's going to show you how to do it here. Make sure it gets all the way to the very top, and then the process for getting the cambers on can be a little tricky and it takes a little time. First, give the sail a good little pull down, and then once you get the sail on your leg, try and twist the camber so that it gets on the rig. Pushing it down and twisting it a little bit seems to be the easiest way. Matt didn't put his top camber on there, so he had to put that camber on. You can see here he kind of pushes down and twists it. Down and then twist it and it hops right on. If that doesn't work, put the mast on your knee and then put your hand inside the sail about 1.5 feet and press down on the sail quite hard, kind of inducing draft into the sail, and that'll help pull the camber away from the mast with less tension and get it on. There you can see him pull the prodder attachment out from this little hole. Here we're going to show you how to attach the shrouds and the prodder. Start with the shrouds, and it's key here to make sure that each of the swage fittings is sitting on the shackle properly. Once you've got the pin through, then you can move down towards the prodder. The prodder is much easier to do second because you have a little bit more leverage to get it into its fitting. Also want to make sure that you've got the shroud over the mast. So here you can see the port shroud is over the mast already. That's very key. To step the rig, you've got your forestay attached. Just hump it up and just get it in there and have your forestay attached so that if you let go, the mast will still sit there. If Matt were to let go of the forestay right now, the mast would be fine. You'll figure out that distance that it needs to be. Then you can grab your forestay and tighten it up. Rig tension is usually, we do about 3 or 4 laps up here on the bow and then give it a good tug. It's pretty unscientific, but when you're going upwind, you want that leeward shroud to be somewhat dangling. Don't over tighten it, as it's proven to be very depowering, and you want to be able to have that power. Once you got your rig up, the first thing you want to do is rig your cutting ham. Get your line and then run through the purchase. It's key here to make sure you got it all nice and clean and straight, because these two blocks will end up getting very close to each other and you're going to use all the purchase, and you don't want there to be any friction. The other good thing about getting the cutting ham on and somewhat tight is it takes some draft out of the sail, as the boat's so light in the parking lot, and if it's gusty or windy, the boat's going to want to sail away. So getting the cutting ham on and flattening the sail out will make it behave on the beach a little bit better. We usually store our booms on the crossbeam when we're on the beach. So undo the bolt, hop it onto the mast, and then stick the bolt through. If you're having a hard time lining it up, you can move the boom around a little bit, or you can just grab the mast and twist. You want to make sure that the tip of the boom is free to move, because now everything's going to start rotating and the boom will start moving around once it's connected to the rig. When you're attaching the outhaul, first you want to do the clew tie down. Usually just have a bit of spectra with 2 laps around, and you want this to be fairly tight because you don't want there to be too much of a gap between the clew of the sail and the boom. Then you can start attaching your outhaul to the sail. Matt here has a soft loop shackle. Anything will work, just make sure it's quick and easy. Once you got the outhaul attached, then you want to get your outhaul bungee. Outhaul bungee is very important, as when you're going downwind, you want to be able to ease the outhaul and have it actually ease for you. There are multiple techniques here for this, but make sure you have a good piece of strong bungee that's fairly tight so that it can go in and out. Here we're going to put the front foil into the boat. You want to get your boat somewhat close to the ramp here, because now you're going to be kind of finally launching without the dolly. Flip the boat on its side and don't take the cover off the bottom part of the foil. Stick the foil in, and then it takes a little getting used to and finding the sweet spot, but generally we try and always go in the front hull. Sometimes it helps to have somebody hold the other tip of the foil, the water part, and move it around a little bit as to get a snug fit. This is a tight fit on purpose, so while it can be a little bit of a drag to rig up, you do want to have this be a very tight fit. And after a little while, you'll learn how far to put the foil into the boat so that the whole The reason for not taking the foil cover off is that you don't want people to be running into it and damaging it. That's the worst thing that can happen, because they're brittle and sometimes people don't realize where they're walking and walk into it. After you've got the pin in, attach your nipple clip with the right height adjuster on, and here you can see the right height adjuster work. You can see when the line gets moved one way, you can see the extension get a little bit longer and then a little bit shorter. It's only a few millimeters, but that's the difference between riding low and riding high. Here we can see we're attaching the rudder. Sometimes it helps to have somebody pull the boat down for you. Get your tiller under the bungee. Take the pin out and slide it on. This needs to be a tight fit as well, so sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of pliers with you. Matt's went on pretty easy here.